Hello, Tomopop. It is Chris Spranger here, intern for Tomopop, and I want to do another show and tell because I really enjoyed show and tell, and it was really fun. I enjoyed talking, so I want to talk more about it, and I'm going to talk about Pokemon because I love Pokemon. Specifically, I'm talking about 2-inch PVC figures made by Tommy Toys, right around 1998, 1999. That time period is what I'm talking. All these things. And you may be wondering why every time a new Pokemon anything comes out, toy-wise, that has articulation, I actually make a big deal about that. I seem to be excited to anything that's like, why do you give a crap, Chris? It's because I started with no articulation. The strangest thing about the height of Pokemon's popularity in the right when it was first big and no one expected it to be as big as it was, finding toys for Pokemon was surprisingly difficult, and it didn't make much sense. You could get some little toys that could move and could fire things. You could get stuffed animals and Beanie Babies and all sorts of merchandise, but legitimate toys to play with the way that the show and the games required meant you had to have a toy line that had a couple dozen or over 100 toys in it to really get the scope, the purpose of everything. And this was all we had, with these 2-inch little stupid toys that didn't move. None of these move. This does not move. This does not move. This, Jolteon, even though Jolteon's awesome, does not move. And I still love him. So, I mean, you're looking at these things. This would just be all you had. A little chunk of PVC, and as a kid, you had to make as much do as you could. All of this was imagination. Imagination was king as a kid. And now, I mean, it makes sense. You can, you look. Collectors, I see collectors on Tomopop, and we mention it all the time. They think this stuff is cool. Just a chunk of plastic doesn't move. But these were for kids under 10. This is a nightmare. These aren't anything that, as cool as they may be, kids aren't going to just display these on their countertops. They want to play with them. I wanted to play with these things. And so I had to do the best I could when playing with these. I'd take Primeape, like, okay, Primeape, you're going into battle with Gyarados. I mean, this Gyarados is not the coolest sculpt, but this Primeape was pretty cool. So I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? Well, we're battling. So, what are we doing? Thunder Punch! Super effective ×4, because that's a flying and water type. I know how it works there. Anyway, my first set ever was a Rattata and a Raticate. And that's pretty damn boring right there. A normal type and a normal type that can learn Bite, Hyper Fang. So exciting. So I got these two to start with. And this is what a set would come with. Just 2. We're 151 at the time. You could get a set with 2 at a time. This would cost right around $8 to $10 for a set of just 2. Usually in the same evolutionary line, sometimes connected vaguely in some other form. But I mean, this was what we would get. And they would also come with a Master Ball, which was like, it would only come with one. It's not like everyone got their each. They each come with one Master Ball, which you could fit, you could put a Pokemon in it, and that would be that. You couldn't really store it though, because this thing was too loose to carry around, even though it has a little carrying loop that you could loop onto something, but it was too loose. It would fall around, so you couldn't be used just carry around, and you can't store it just sitting because you can't fit 2 things in easily. Some of the Pokemon don't even fit in the balls at all, such as Scyther here. His wings are too big. I can't fit him in. I mean, he doesn't work. Although, to let you know, this right here, just this right now, I can sell this for about $14, $15 online. Just this. In the boring Scyther pose, I can just sell this. And this is, like I said, really frustrating. This is a boring pose for Scyther. Scyther's cool, but he's not in a cool pose. I mean, you had some cool ones. There were some cool ones. Geodude was cool because he had big fists, and Geodude could kick everybody's ass. But I mean, then you had some like Ninetales here. Ninetales was just like a chunk of this is a boring way even for Ninetales to sit. This is not even a great paint job, not even that interesting of colors, just bland. It's boring. I have a Goldeen. Why do I have a Goldeen? But I have one. I mean, this one's not too bad. This is a fairly good sculpt, but, you know, I have a Goldeen. Why? I don't know. I wanted it, I guess. I mean, some of them were cool, though. Don't get me wrong. Hitmonlee is pretty tight. This is a pretty cool pose because definitely I can get a lot out of it. So, you know, I'll be playing and, oh, Zubat. Oh, why did I buy a Zubat? Well, high jump kick. Get out of my face, Zubat. But then again, we have something like Mewtwo. Mewtwo is supposed to be one of the coolest Pokemon ever, and this is a really, really bad sculpt. This is boring. The paint job is crap. I mean, look at this. The paint's not even filled in all the way. They didn't cut out this little part here. It's just a boring little pose. This is terrible. He even looks like he's cross-eyed, which makes sense, I guess, because he kind of... And even Mew looks a little better, but this is supposed to be Mewtwo. Headbutt. Pow! Why would they do this to us? We're kids. We need awesome toys. Give us a little credit. Every little set that came with the Master Ball. Why a Master Ball for everything? Who in their right mind uses a Master Ball to catch a Rattata? I don't get it. But they'd all come with these little Pog-like things. Here's one of Charizard. Every single character came with one, the exact one for theirs. And it would have the picture of them. It would have their name, their Pokedex number, as you can see, and then height and weight on the side here. Which I guess was okay. It was like, here's a little reference point. Little stats. But then they had these little stars. Here Charizard has 2 stars and 3 stars. What were these for? We were never told what they were for. The back of the packaging never explained if there was a game, because it was very clear there had to be a game, because here's Pikachu, has 2 stars and 4 stars, so he is, I guess, a better rating, potentially, than Charizard. Alakazam had 3 stars and 1 star, so I'm not even sure if it goes by how powerful Alakazam. It's tough to say who was stronger. I mean, the figures were cool. Charizard was a cool figure. He could, you know, he had wings that were out and they could look like they could fly. That's pretty cool. But then you had the Pidgey set. Pidgey, Pidgeotto, Pidgeot. All of these are just standy. These are birds. They should be in flight positions. Fearo's in a flight position, kind of. That's kind of cool. Zapdos is kind of in a flight position. This is about $8 to $9 right now online. But why? These are supposed to be cool, and they're not. And I have 2 Pidgeys. Why do I have 2 Pidgeys? I spent money on these things. I spent money on these things. I have a Chansey. The paint job on the Chansey is crap. You can see, like, the paint chips off very easily if you're not careful. And then it's just, you're left with a crappy sculpt. I don't get it. You know, so... Yes, I would buy you these things, and they didn't make any sense. You're spending a lot of money. Like I said, right here, most of these come in 2 sets. They came in 3 sets as well. So here's like the Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard set, which these were all pretty cool. I was very happy. Charmeleon was probably the coolest of these 3, and just the little toy sculpt. But you could get these ones, instead of being about $8 to $10, were probably about $12 or $13 for the 3 set. They didn't come with a Master Ball, but they did come with these things. They had a lot, and you don't want to store them together, because this is what happens. I spent about an hour trying to untangle it, didn't succeed. But you had these, they looked like a little Game Boy that said Bat Pokey on it. I didn't understand what that meant, but you could stick, they were on strings, stuck those little Master Balls in them, and you could shoot the Master Balls back out. And, you know, they could hold the little Pogs in here. Here's the Venusaur. You could store your Pogs there, the little weird things, the little game disc, but I don't know what they were for, because once again, it didn't explain what these were used for. The back packaging, I think it showed you, like, a kid shooting the Pokemon figures with them, which, you know, I guess you could knock over Moltres easy enough, because this thing is kind of flimsy, but you're not going to knock over, you know, Weezing here. That base is too strong, so it's not even a fair game. If it is a game of sorts, like, that didn't make any sense. And so they would have all that, and a lot of it was, you know, something felt off about all of these toys. Why are all these toys kind of feel off? And, you know, here's one reasoning. If you notice, some of these have little holes in the bottom of them that look like a pencil would go in, because these are pencil toppers. These are the actual ones from the set that I bought, that I spent a lot of money on as a kid, but these were also on pencils. I have pencils elsewhere that have these, you know, Pokemon pencils. These are pencil toppers. They were selling kids pencil toppers as normal toys and packaging in some asinine game involved that didn't make any sense because they told us no rules. But you have a lot of other ones, like here is Clefairy, also a pencil topper. Little note, Clefairy was gonna be the mascot before Pikachu became really successful, so little stat there. Jigglypuff, pencil topper. Although this one is weird, and you can see Jigglypuff has a vagina. In case you were wondering, Jigglypuff has a vagina. But yes, we as kids had no other choice. We want to play full on with our Pokemon. Poliwrath, pretty tight. We want to play with them. We had to buy these pieces of crap. A lot of these are pieces of crap. And the most we could do was just the standard, you know, I'm gonna use Stun Spore. You're stunned. No, I'm gonna dodge and I'm gonna hit you with Mega Punch. Kaboom! And then he faints. And that's, you know, that's how I would have to play as much as I could with these toys. Some of them are still cool though. Like I said, Jolteon, the best Pokemon ever. Gengar, really freaking tight. Ekans is, of course, Sterling's favorite. But, I mean, like I said, you're getting some really terrible sculpts for some of the other ones that should be really, really, really cool. Mewtwo is pitiful. Vaporeon is pitiful. Pitiful. So much pity should be just laid upon your kid's feet. I mean, it gets worse, too. They sold some sets that had these statues in them, so here is Jesse and James from Team Rocket from the show. You could buy these, and they would only come with one Pokemon each. So James here came with Meowth. They'd come with one Pokemon each. They had some other sets. They had Misty, they had Ash, they had Brock, and they had the two from Team Rocket, which I bought. I don't know why, because these also do not move. Even though, like I said, you know, now a collector would want to get some of these. As we've seen, you know, that's what we talk about on Tomopop, is these cool statues. But these are not cool statues. These are boring little statues that are just kind of bland. Except they were strange, because they came with a normal Pokeball. Buying these was the only way to get a normal Pokeball, which is kind of one of the reasons I bought them. These two, at least. Because they came with this, but, you know, this is also cheap. This was just a knockoff of the Master Ball. Notice that the Master Ball has the circles. These are clearly molded with the circles, so what the hell? And I had some sets that had this weird, like, catchable thing. You could use it to try to catch them. And like I said, there was some sort of game involved, and I don't know what the game was because they did not want to explain it to us what the game was. It's very confusing. But you know, I bought these things. I have these things. I own these things. I have a Staryu. I have this. I own this. I have a Seal. Nobody likes Seal. I have a Seal. I have a Venonat. I have this. I own this. I must have spent, what you're looking at here is probably a combined collection of over $200, $300 just raw spent. That's not how much they're worth. You know, now they're worth more than that. But I have a Metapod. I bought a Metapod. Kids were stupid when I was a kid, and kids are still stupid now, but still. I mean, this is what I had to live with. These things. I had to live with these things. This was what I lived with. Here's my Nidoking. He's awesome. He's a pencil topper. But you can find a lot of these online now. If you look online, you'll search Tommy Toys 2-inch PVC. You can find them if you really want to collect them, but good freaking luck collecting every single one. I mean, like I said, good luck. That's all I have to say about that for this week, so hopefully the audio did not bother you too badly, Scarecroodle. Sorry to give you migraines. Maybe. But that's all for Chris Pranger and Tomopop. I'm signing off.